So, hi, this is Paul Casey, Kempo Karate Hall of Fame, with our educational video series. Today's special guest, we're very happy to have Dan Rodarte and his son, Steve Rodarte, first family of the Kempo Karate Hall of Fame. We're very excited. Danny, it's good to see you. Thank you for being here, sir.
Very good, Paul.
Oh, thank you. So I'm gonna mute everybody for now, or at least everybody, please keep your comments. We'll ask some questions at the very end, but I would like them to talk. So, Danny, tell us about how you got in the martial arts and your history with the Kempo world. And you might move your camera just slightly over next to your son. You don't have to practice social distancing with him, I hope.
You want to hear it?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. To all my Kempo brothers out there, all over, how I started? Well, I was watching TV one day and in 1959, and that's where I saw a detective, and he used this moves, and little did I know it was choreographed by Ed Parker. But I said, wow, look at that. I love boxing. I had 2 fights, lost them both. I was 13 or 14, broke my nose the second time. Hit me in the temple. I went down on the knee, and they called it out. That was my career in boxing. I know what it feels to be dropped. But other than that, I said, well, I'd like to learn some of that karate. And so in Hollywood, there was a karate school, the name of Bruce Tegner. Bruce Tegner, well, the old guys will remember, but yeah, I went to Bruce Tegner, and there I was, and for 2 years, and made Brown, worked out with the late Ricky Nelson, the old guys, you know, but then there was a tournament, and there was in Long Beach in 1964, and I didn't go, but the guys went, and when they came back, you know what, this school here, I don't know, it's not really, and so the guys went looking to other places, and so did I. So I went down to little Tokyo's, to Oshima's, that was Japanese style, and the guy hadn't shown up there, so I went home. So a couple of weeks, I went back to the Bruce Tegner, the guys, you know what, I went to check that school, Pasadena, Kempo. Man, those guys would move those hands, and man, they could kill somebody. I said, ooh. So there in 1964, it wasn't the school that Parker had now, it was next door, a little smaller. And so there is where I began, signed up, $8 a month, I believe it was. And I stayed there and taught there and met many people that.
Who's you were teaching with? Who was that? Bruce Tegner was with Danny and Santos?
Oh yeah, when I went there, Danny and Santos was there, by the way. He with at Bruce Tegner's, and then I went to Pasadena and there with Danny and Santos too. Also, I always looking for knowledge. So yeah, I trained under Dan, and after the '64, him and about 6 other of the guys that in Pasadena went with Bruce Lee, but I stuck with Parker, and that's how I began with Kempo. And so going there from, I lived in Whittier, went up to Pasadena, and 3 times a week, and there I was teaching at Parker's, and from then on, I opened my own school.
When you went to Pasadena, what were some of the students that you trained with, that somebody that we would recognize later on?
Well, some went on. Mike Pick, oh yeah, Mike LeMay, the great Mike Pick, sure. Part of them, and again, Sterling. I have the family tree, by the way. I always, as a matter of fact, Parker, he would always like. As you get older, you learn more and more. I say, hey, Ed, you know, I saw this on TV when Roots, about Africans when they came from Rio, it was a series, mentioned, hey, Ed, you know what, it'd be a good idea, the roots of all the guys you've taught. And sure enough, I have that. I studied Charles Gonzalez, he was responsible for all the materials that we have. And Charlie's, I took him to 2 Dragons that were on the certificate that the latest that Parker had made, and he made it up and put it together, and that's how we have the family tree now.
You know, I have copies of the family tree, and what I'll do is I'll put it on. I'll give it to Paul, and he could put it online somehow, and people can the original one, and people can get it because they're hard to get anymore. But they can print it out and have it themselves. That original tree. So I'll talk to Paul later. We can put that out for people that want it, and we'll be able to make that available down the road.
Absolutely, great idea. Absolutely, people love to see the roots. But that's how it was well, and then I opened my own school in '75. Yeah, the Montebello School.
Isn't that where Frank came to study with you or train with you?
Oh yeah, one day, yeah, he came from Pasadena. Frank was about 18 years old, and he ran my school. Man, as a professor, I did it part time. I was a mail carrier. That's what I did for a living. But you know, you have somebody to run your school, and Frank did the job. He slept there. That was our history. Frank and I, from meeting and going to tournaments. We were tournament people. We put on tournaments, and
him and my dad put on the first IKKA tournament, Cal Poly. Just to refresh you, some people may not know that, but it was a great tournament. I was there.
Oh yeah.
But I was too smoochy with my first girlfriend back at the time. But it was a lot of good fun time.
Yeah,
I have some of those posters.
That's what you competed in that tournament, as a matter of when you.
Yes, I did. Let me ask you this. Why don't you explain your training in Ed Parker's system? You made black. What year was that? Your first black belt? 19...
Yeah, I have a certificate. I was going to show it to you. I have it.
Right, no, but what year was that?
1969.
Because I was at Dragon Fest last year, and you came by and you brought it by. It was really a conversational piece. So you're going up the history. You're going through the ranks of the Ed Parker system and such. When did Mr. Parker approach you to be on the board? I think you were a first vice president or
yes, I was.
Why don't you talk about that and the responsibilities there?
Yeah, he had the certificate that they gave me the first, and it just had his name on there. But I'm back.
What?
Can you see me?
Yeah, you can see.
All right, I can't see him. Can you hear me, Paul?
Paul.
We can hear you.
He stepped away.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can keep talking.
Yeah, you can keep
all
talking.
right.
They're all listening.
Yeah, okay. No, all right. I'm not used to this, but okay. Where was I? Yeah, the certificate. It just when they had the certificate made, and that was in 1980, and it was himself and the executive vice president was Tom Kelly, and then I was the vice president, and Lonnie Parker was the treasurer, and that's was in 1980, and that's how it came to be that I was on the certificate. My name was on there, so.
Well, I'm familiar with that because I have lots of those. Now, what you guys were talking about is this.
Yes.
Yeah, you got it.
You got it right there.
This is the original that was
family
given to
tree.
me.
You got it.
I mean, this thing is huge. And
Yeah, Charles.
I've been
Gonzalez
asked
was
about
there.
that a few times. That was whatever that was, 82, something like that. I don't remember.
Those were given away in the book 1 of the Infinite Insights when they originally came out. And then as subsequently he went into second, third printings, and he just didn't print those. So they became kind of rare.
Yeah, I was lucky.
yeah.
I had some of those rare. And then here, now, let's talking about having posters. You're talking about. Here it is. I have to share this with you, Rodartes. Here you go. Here you go, buddy. 4th IKKA, welcome. Look at that.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
Dude, that's a
I can
piece.
make a copy of that. We sure
No,
like
you
to
ain't
get
getting that. You came on late. You ain't getting nothing.
That's a classic. Yeah, that's a
Oh,
Yeah,
classic.
dude,
man.
that was that. I was where I learned to block with my face, and against a BKF guy. And I'm telling you right now, I never forgot those things. So I said, I'm gonna keep that to remind myself, so I'll never. And I hide this.
What's
Now
the
you made me
story
bring
about
it
those
up.
hands?
Yeah, so that was
Oh,
those deals.
Ruben.
What's
Yeah,
that?
Ruben.
What's the story with those hands on that
Hey,
poster?
Ruben.
What
I
hats?
gotta hand it to you, Ruben. You got in the ring, man. You did it, man. You did it.
I did it.
You know, the best times was going to the tournaments and the camaraderie ship that you got from people and spending time with them and whatnot. And then you looked at the seniors, like you'd watch the fights, and you know, you go there and you see Bob White's team and you see all the great talent that was there that was competing, or you'd see the other guys. I mean, you know, you see somebody like, now you could probably talk about this, Danny, Steve Sanders, better known as Steve Muhammad.
Oh, yes, yes.
Tell us
Oh,
about watching him.
Oh, yeah. Lightning, man. Quick, fast. The greatest.
Isn't
I wanna-
there's a mystic story that we would love to hear. Kempo and Quarry Minds want to know. So I'm going to ask Mr. Knatzer to ask that question.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were talking earlier, Paul and I said, man, there must be something very, mysterious, and there's a lot of mystique around the closed door sparring session with Steve Sanders, now Muhammad, and Bruce Lee. How did that go? Those that watched it, how did it? What did you like about it? What did you come back with? Who won? Et cetera, et cetera.
Count me out. I wasn't there. I didn't see it.
Wait a
that?
second. That's not what you told me the other day. They said that you were present when Sanders worked out with Lee. Is that correct?
Who's they said?
There was a few people that told me that you
Okay,
said
see,
that.
you asked me a question that just,
Can't remember. There's 3 things you forget when you get old.
He says, I can't remember.
Show up at your son's induction to the Hall of
Right,
Fame.
Steve
Yeah,
said.
that's one.
Yeah,
Come on.
I just saw Bruce Lee once. He came down to the Pasadena school, him and his partner that came in the Green Hornet. And he just walked in, and the guys got autographed. But him and Sanders, again, I didn't see it.
Okay. So anyway, so Danny, so we've gotten into we know about how you started. We went from one system to Mr. Parker's system. And then as you progressed in it, you started doing promotions with tournaments and whatnot. You developed the idea of going into Muay Thai. Tell us about it.
Okay, let's Steve talk. Okay.
Yeah, well,
All right.
Go ahead, Dan. Tell him.
All right. We started the karate tournaments, okay? Frank and I, all right. Then it became full contact karate, kick above the waist. And then after that, I said, you know what, it's more like kickboxing. It's not no karate, full contact. So now I promoted them a few shows. But then I said, you know what, let's go. It's kickboxing. You're boxing and kicking, so let's call it kickboxing. And I made up the International Kickboxing Association because I started getting fighters from across the border. And I asked the athletic commission, we were under the athletic commission, I was on the board, and I said, you know what, I'd like to have the kickboxing day. I want to have the guys wear trunks and no counting of kicks. And it's open leg and you're boxing. So then the Thai community, and for the record, if you see the Rick Rufus first time that Muay Thai and a kickboxer got together in Las Vegas, that's not true. This event took place at the Olympic Auditorium in 1982, for the record. And I had 3 Thais. They came and I put on the undercard and they went full knee and elbow. I have the video So whenever you see on TV the first time the Muay Thai took place in 1980, it's not so. So I started promoting Muay Thai, Culver City, and like you said, now I like the Muay Thai. I mean, I have associated, and this is what I'm into. That's why I still keep traditional Kempo forms, etc. But Muay Thai, love it.
Being a pioneer. Now let's move on. Now we're going to go to your son, Steve. It's good to see you. Thank you for coming in and all this. Steve was inducted last year. Steve was inducted last year in the Kempo Karate Hall of Fame. His father was in the first class. And for those that don't know this, Frank chose the first class because those people were the most important to him. And there was 12 of them in total. And I just wanted you, so your father was back with Frank in that first year. And so last year you were inducted. So tell us about growing up in a Kempo world.
Well, my original instructor was Louis Solis. I don't know if you guys remember Louis Solis, Mr. Solis. And my dad was always there teaching me from the beginning, but then Louis took over, and then Frank took over when he came in at 18, and he was like a big brother to me at the time. I followed him all around, seen many things with Frank, and growing up at the gym was my life. I knew nothing else, and I really still don't. I'm here every day at the gym from 9 to 9. If I'm not here, I'm on the movie sets doing something with Adam Sandler or some other people that have called me as a consultant. But it's all because of the martial arts. Everything I owe is because of martial arts, and not just the martial arts, but the Kempo, because the Kempo helped me teach. The Thais used to come to the school and see me line up the class. They didn't know how to teach classes on Muay Thai. It was all one-on-one, but I used the format of what I learned from Kempo, and it became very, very, very significant in helping me in my business, which I do. But growing up, it's what can I say? It's amazing. The internationals was one of still the highlights of my life. When I won. I was I think 16 years old, as white to black belt. I had to compete 9 times for first place. That was quite a bit, you know. And I'm gonna tell you what, I'll say it online. I didn't pay to enter that tournament. Mr. Parker's daughter let me in because I was running late, and I couldn't find my dad to pay my way in. She let me fill out the application. I actually won it that year. It's one of the best feelings in the world, the internationals. A lot of people say, come to me, how was karate? And compared to the Muay Thai, because Muay Thai it's very vulgar to some people. The elbow's made for cutting and everything. But when I tell the story, what happened to me on, I think a year and a half ago, yeah, I got attacked. And boy, I was not using the Muay Thai, I was using Kempo. Me and my wife got attacked by somebody who was on that bath salt or whatever, 19-year-old man, and 2 other guys. And believe it or not, the Kempo I owe to right now, that always staying with the finger set, everything really helped me in getting out of that situation. And everything, you know, you never think I'd ever get a fight in the street till after an older age, because I'm old. I'm gonna be 59 this year. But the martial arts is everything I know. Thanks to my father, I was able to have great trainers, Thais, come to me and learn. And back in the early 80s, nobody knew what Muay Thai was, and they're already coming to me to learn Muay Thai since then. And I had a hard time training myself and training fighters, the art of Muay Thai, the elbows, the elbow jerks. And instead of teaching, there's one thing I don't have with, I wish I could show you my templates that all people come to me, and it's because of Parker, the yellow belt, orange belt. I created the Muay Thai templates with the elbow jerks, front elbow, back, you know, overhead elbows, and that they have in the Muay Thai. Instead of calling them the Thai names, I call them the traditional American names. And for the instructors to come here, they have to know how the application of all the elbows and knees and stuff. And I love it. I love combining it with Kempo. It's, to me,
Sawadee Cup.
Oh yeah, my dad. It's just an add-on. Like Parker said, I think he said his art was for his students to always keep advancing.
Exactly.
You know, matter of fact, there's the picture I didn't get to send you. I was underneath it when he kicked Frank at my dad's school, Montebello. I'm right underneath the legs. You can see me right there. Frank holding his hands there, and Parker, I think was his brown or black, I'm not sure. But a lot of great memories, Paul.
You know, we opened up this segment. We were asking Mr. White and Mr. Canasser about teaching. What did you take away from teaching to you know, as we're looking at some things that are on the screen right now? But the point I want to say was that we're looking at what are some of the some of the principles that you learned from your instructors that now you pass on to your instructors for their students.
You know what? Because you know I have world-class professional boxers here. My dad actually started off in boxing as a kid. So my gym, for the record, I think my dad's school in Montebello was the first martial arts school that literally had a boxing ring in it.
Yes, it was.
And so the application with the Kempo, the foot maneuvers, push forward, push drag, we do those as drills every day to this day. And those go with the jab, how to hit back, Muhammad Ali throwing the right punch and pushing back out the front leg. It's all foot maneuvers. The foot maneuvers are so great, the knowledge of those in Kempo, that, you know, you can apply it to many, many other things, you know. You know, and like I said, it's those basics, he gave us a foundation. That's why I always I mentioned Ed Parker to a lot of people, because he gave us a foundation that everybody basically can always relate to and create from and go past forward. You know, it's like anything else. Things are so new now, but the generation of building houses are always the same. But the foundation of a house, and my dad's always taught me, and that's from the Kempo. It's amazing. I love it. I owe everything to my father.
Well, your father, as far as I'm concerned, your father's one of the most genuine human beings. I've known him since 1978, and he still looks good, buddy. What can I say? You know,
you're just saying that because it's true.
It is. What can I say? You know, it was an important lesson in life. What was the greatest lesson that you took, Steve, from your father, from your competition? See, most people don't know that you were also a world champion in Muay Thai fighting, and now as a promoter. Give us some ideas on that. I would like to hear about that.
Well, you know what? Basically, my dad, you know, he's the first one to tell you, right? He'll come to me for the knowledge that I've learned, but I've only learned that knowledge because I was able to get it from top boxing instructors. George Johnson, who worked with Berta Duran, worked with me. You know, the Thais, Kankai Cry, and the Golden Leg. It just, the knowledge, and he always applied it to we'd always mess around and work these Thai techniques into the Kempo art, and we found it very fascinating. And we do the techniques. We've been doing the techniques on the bags for several years, since forever. One of the greatest things is, my dad always said fire for effect. And I said, well, you know what? We can use the hand sword to the throat on the bags. Boom! You could do a lot of hammer fist on the bags. Boy, this is a good workout you could do just with the Kempo techniques on the bag.
You got to hit something. You got to
hit something. We've been doing that for 40 years.
As far as promotions, yes. I mean, you can be the greatest fighter there is, but without a promoter, without putting shows together, it's just stale. So, yeah, I promoted in Hawaii. I had no business. I mean, wow. We did it.
Well, the nice thing is you're still being asked to travel the world and do seminars, because the seeking of the knowledge is so important to these people. They know that have an opportunity to hear from you.
Yeah, I'd like to share my knowledge. Yeah, it's just knowing something. You want to just add it to what you know in Kempo. Just add it to it. I mean, nothing wrong with this.
Steve, what's the new thing? I know that you've got Elite Boxing. So tell us about your projects with Elite Boxing and some of the probably other individuals that you've worked with in the entertainment world because of it.
Oh, wow. I mean, just very recently I had a kid, a young guy, young 30s, but he came to me and I'll say it online, he paid me some good money for a whole year to advise him how to promote. And his uncle's the president of the Philippines. He walks in, I didn't know him from nowhere, and he came to me, he looked on my file, saw the martial arts background, the boxing, the Muay Thai. He says, you have knowledge. I go, yeah, if you want my IP, it's going to cost you. Because my dad knows that I really don't do a lot of techniques, and nobody, that I try to keep it to myself. If they want to come learn the Kempo, if they want to, I've taught Keith David. Keith David wanted to learn Kempo, so I taught him Kempo, and I love teaching Kempo, and I love just staying with the foundation. And then some people want to learn boxing, I'll teach them boxing. I've gotten able to, you know, because of this in my background, I became a security coordinator, and I got on a movie called Hollywood Homicide and got to take care of Harrison Ford. And that was my first in there. And I had come on a magazine with a guy named Coben, and it had Jimmy Lennon Sr. holding my hand up on that magazine. And I guess they had bought a lot of the magazines and pushed them around, and they gave them to the movie set guys, the grip guys, the light guys. After that, they're calling me. I ended up doing Incredible Hulk. I did plenty of movies. Pirates of the Caribbean, took care of 1 and 2. And, you know, but it's something different. I know they know I was into a lot of different stuff, but something when they find out you're in the martial arts, and I want to say that the martial arts, you know, now it's like MMA. The MMA guys like Mighty Mo, he's in the Bellator. They come to me because they look at me, hey, this guy he's second generation, you know. This guy, you know, he knows, and they come to me. But as my age getting up to the 60s, my body feels it when I hold the Thai pads or the mitts, you know. And all the great trainers that I have here, I really have elite trainers. I have Dub Huntley here, who they made $1 Million Baby on. He's my boxing coach. Blessed to have him here. He taught Freddie Roach, Layla Ali. But so many trainers, guys come from Germany and ask me, hey, can I come over here and teach at your school? I say, sure, come on down, I'll meet you. But the minute they step in the gym and they start cussing or say one cuss word, they don't know. You see, I'm gonna tell you right now, I never heard my dad say one cuss word in my lifetime to this day. I wish I could say that. I wish I could say that, but it's because he always said, don't ever lose control, you know? And one of the things I admire about my dad is that he's never ever, in front of me anyway, I'm sure he's done all kinds of things, but not in front of me, you know? Like I said.
Ensenada.
Yeah.
Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
I'm just kidding. He didn't say that stuff.
Okay. As a matter of fact, looking forward to the next.
I know you are,
award.
sir.
Yeah, looking forward to go. I want to go to Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
The one thing I will say, take away from Danny Rodarte, is that he always had a smile and a handshake for you. Always. And he was always genuinely interested in saying hello to you and how are you. Just really a warm human being. And I'm really, because of him, I know that you, and the way you carried yourself last year at the dinner was just, your whole family was there. And it was beautiful, Steve. I mean, it was really nice. Such a first-class act. And
thanks to you, Paul. Thanks to you.
Yeah, you know what? To tell you, my mother never went to any of my karate matches, my kickboxing matches, nothing. She never, but she was always too afraid to go to but she ended up going to that, and that was the highlight of my evening. I know my dad wasn't there because, you know, my dad was out taking care of business, but you know, but my mom was there, and that meant the world to me, and for her to see the Kempo, she's always known with Kempo. I mean, Kempo is out there, and it will continue to be out there thanks to people like you, Paul, that are ambassadors.
That's right.
And are doing such a great job with this. And, you know, of course, I get to see Dave Brock, Dave Brock quite a bit. And we're talking quite a bit, me and Dave, because
Dave nominated you.
Yeah, Dave.
Not a hesitation. Says, I want Steve Rodarte. And I said, excellent choice. You know, Dave is one of those human beings that he's incredibly talented, was very successful in the ring, but the only thing that exceeded all that is his personal, humble, honorable self toward others and his faith in God. His
faith is an amazing thing that, you know, because honestly nowadays, boy, that I deal with people, you know, they got to put God first, and that's my biggest change in my life. Because I do, when you're a businessman like me, you'll do business. You know, business is business, right? But now, you might say 2020 has changed quite a bit. I choose to work with people that really believe, you know, God first, and then, you know, you work from there. They won't, you know, we're looking at things the same way, a little bit different, because I've had a lot of people come and try to, you know, do things the wrong way. And, you know, they weren't godly in any way whatsoever, but it's business. You know, I had to work with them. They come to me. But I don't give my IP away for free, all my knowledge of promoting and all the years of training. But anyone that wants to come in our doors, we don't charge them. And it's been a blessing of our life, because we know when a kid's in need, wants to come and learn. And when they come and learn some type of art, they can really appreciate it. And they go on. I have people that are students now that are, man, they're doing exceeding me. And that, you know, that's what you want. You want the younger generation to exceed you. And like my dad, I remember him going 57 years in the post office. My dad worked, and then after work, he'd go pick me up every day, drive me from Santa Fe Springs to Montebello, take me home. And I got to be around it. That was my home in Montebello since I was a kid. But those are the things that parents that I see that come to my school, because I have like maybe 45 kids actually enrolled right now in my school. And any given moment, there's never been under 30. But the thing is that the parents that take the time for their kids, you know, in any way, I don't care if they put them in soccer, martial arts, but the way the principles of my teaching, they line up like a Kempo class. They do the stiff leg raises, side leg raises, and then I add the Muay Thai knees as a stretch, and I implement the ways that they work, and I combine them together, and they really, really, really love it. And I'm always going to be doing that, hopefully for another 40 years, you know, because it's a family tradition, and we're going to go stronger than ever. I know that.
One thing I'm taking from what you said is that integrity and hard work that you receive those lessons from your father. And you mentioned Dave Brock. I think Dave Brock is one incredible human being, and he always says wonderful things about his teacher. He was first black belt for that man that we were talking about because of the lessons, Bob White. And Bob, I'm gonna tell you, one of the most important Kempo moments I've ever had in my life. My daughter taught me there's no perfect life, just perfect moments, but there are imperfect things. And when you focus on a thing rather than a moment or a person, you're confused. And I'll tell you why. Several years ago, Dave Brock was inducted into the Kempo Karate Hall of Fame. Frank Trejo spoke so highly of him, and he went out of his way each time at the tournaments. I was at Bob White's tournament several times, and he came up, introduced himself to me, and we were talking. So that night before he was to be inducted, and Benny Ukitis was there as well, Dave had his two sons there with him. I think he had three of them. No, he had two. He had two of his sons. And Justin was there. And he was a minister. And he spoke to me before we went in. And he's battling brain cancer. And I don't even know how, but for the grace of God, this man had the strength. He took me aside, and he and his brother, and he said, Paul, I know that your daughter's very sick, and I want to pray for her right now. And I was taken back. I was completely caught off guard. I've been too many years in the industry. Nothing really phases me too much. And that was one of those moments. The previous time was 8 years prior when I did the Night Rider Festival in Las Vegas in front of 5,000 people, David Hasselhoff, Glenn Larson, all this. And an hour before the event, my daughter stopped breathing. And I thought, what am I doing? What am I doing? She's going to die, and I'm going to go out there in front of a group of people for what? And I said, at that time, I looked at her, and she inspired me. So Dave goes, he's inside. Justin says, I want to pray for your daughter because he's a minister. He says, I want to do this. And the three of us are together. And it was so spiritual for me. And I said, oh my God, this man walks with God. He truly does. I was taken aback. So I went on and regathered my thoughts, and I started the event. And when it came to having Dave Brock come up, his son was going to come up. Both sons coming up. I remember, Bob, I know you remember this. And Justin and his other brother walking up, and Justin collapsed as he was going up the stairs. It only about 2.5, 3 feet. Yeah, and he I don't know how this happened. His brother grabbed him. He held, I said to his brother, I said, if he cannot do it, it's okay. I'll step right in. He says, no, he can do this. He looked at me. He leaned over to me, says, I can do this, Paul. I can do this. This is for my dad. He went up there. He was holding on to the podium. And God spoke through that man that night. He spoke about his father, the importance of his father as a human being. And I'm telling you, folks, everybody that was in that room witnessed something special. And then he introduced his father. And his father, so humble, was so grateful that his boys were up there to see this. And what did he do? Dave Brock, instead of speaking of himself, he spoke of Benny, about Benny Eukitis as being the greatest fighter in Kempo. Yet, he beat Benny, and he didn't even know who Benny Eukitis was, and Mr. Parker had to tell him.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, God was holding onto that family that night and that man. And sadly, he passed away, 9 months later. But I was truly touched by human beings that were so special. And I am grateful, Mr. White, to know Dave Brock. He is truly a testimony to your teachings. He walks in a special place.
Yeah, he's a special young man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
anyway, we're so happy that I didn't want to go on a down thing, but I just wanted to share of why Dave Brock, thinking of you, Steve, and how this is a family that's extended. This goes back to that first year when we did this, when Bob White spoke of the special atmosphere of this. It was spiritual that night. And every time we get together, it is important because we don't know when God's going to call us, but when he does, we will go there. But in the interim, we have a purpose and a path to walk and to share the teachings of Kempo. Mr. Parker was an amazing human being. I'm grateful to know him through Frank Trejo, through Danny Rodarte, Steve Rodarte, Bob White, Dennis Knatzer, all the other members of the Hall of Fame, my brethren of Steve Orsino, Ruben. You know, I mean, you couldn't have met better people than that. And this is my way of giving back to bring awareness to you folks, because you're truly important to our community. So I thank you. I really do.
Thank you, Paul.
We thank you, Paul.
Anyway, is there anything else we want to talk about last minute on the Rodartes? Any special events coming up?
We apologize for coming on so late, man.
Don't worry, we got it all here for you.
Oh, he's struggling, all right. Yeah, really.
Hey, Danny, remember this?
Oh, yeah, that's Frank. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, brother Frank, thank you.
Well, I've opened up the microphones. Everybody, don't step on one another, but if you have a question, why don't we pose a question real quickly to the Rodartes before we close out? I hear nothing but chatter.
Chatter, oh, man. Hey,
Someone's eating.
somebody's eating. Well, I need a haircut, and you understand I can't find a barber open. So,
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
How young are you?
I'm watching all you guys. So don't think that I'm not watching you from where I'm at up here. So make sure you keep doing what you're doing, Paul. And Bob White, you keep teaching great. I'm very proud of you. So one of these days when I come back down there, I'll be able to see you guys again. You'll be able to come up and see me. But in the meantime, it's been 30 years since I passed away, coming this December. And I don't know too many other systems that are as varied, verbal, and as widespread as Kempo is today. And so I'm very proud of all you guys that are spreading my art. And I want you to refer to me always as the founder. That's all I want, is to be the founder of American Kempo. And that's what I am. And I want you guys to know you're doing a great job. Bob White, you're doing a great job. I know that Dennis will tell you the story about Mama Mouse and Baby Mouse about 100 times. But in the meantime, you guys are all doing great. Rodarte, you guys are doing good fighting. Don't forget to tell them about Ed Parker and the foundation about footwork. The most important part of the art is footwork. Oftentimes, before you can get anything else in, you got to position yourself through footwork. So you said it earlier, and I'm very proud of you to mention that. Footwork is the primary foundation. And that's it. So I got to get back up here. I'm sitting with Jobina, and we've been watching the whole show. So you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you so much. I thank you all for coming. We'll repost this up on the on Facebook in the next couple of days. And tomorrow will be Mr. Joe Dimmick. So everybody have a beautiful Saturday, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And a week away, Mr. White, it's going to be an amazing conference with you. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to share, and we're very excited. Thank you so much. God bless everybody. Salute.
Take care, guys.
Take care, guys.
Thank you for sharing.
You got it.
See everybody next week.
Hey, Bob.
Take care,
Bye,
Bob.
Steve. Bye, Danny.
Bye, Mr. White. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Okay, after. Bye-bye.